There it is.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Geek Vice episode number 32, a podcast by a few geeks just trying to be heard in a world now flooded with geeks. This is John Guzman, aka Loktar, your host. My claim to fame in the geek world is being the guild leader of Reloaded Whisperwind US. With me tonight, I have my two co hosts, Mr. Morph, the bartender for the zombie apocalypse. How are you doing today, sir?
Good. Cheers.
What are you drinking?
I'm drinking my good old fashioned PBR.
Ah, you're such a hipster douchebag wannabe.
Well, I haven't had a chance to go to the liquor store to get more of the good stuff. So,
Whatever. And the other corner of the triangle, Mr. Schmoopy Bear,
Schmoopy.
a man boldly going from the couch to the kitchen and back again. How are you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing well.
Are you drinking anything but water?
That's a negative.
Oh,
Just water. I know it's boring as all get out, but this way I can sleep at night.
that's true. You are a lightweight in that sense of the word, but not anything else.
Yeah, nobody's really said I was light for a very long time.
And tonight we actually have a very special guest, the very first female guest, or well, we should say official because we've had, my significant other chime in various parts of our podcast, inadvertently
Yeah.
or advertently.
Oh,
But
we just thought your voice was changing. We didn't know.
but tonight we have an actual guest, and she happens to be female. And the reason that she has to claim being a geek, besides what we're going to talk about with her later on, is that I actually met her and her husband through playing this game called World of Warcraft. So let me introduce to you guys Isabel Tori.
Hi.
Hooray! Welcome.
So I get to be the first girl and I can claim that honor?
Yes, you can.
Awesome.
Or hide it in shame. I don't know which one you'll choose.
Well, we'll see how this goes.
Oh, there's going to be a ton of stuff to talk about, and basically, chime in anytime you want because your opinion probably weighs more than all of us combined because there's not much here in form of brains.
I'm sure there is.
But one of the reasons that we have you here is because we want to start promoting your book, which is actually coming out in June 6th of this year, and we just it is a very interesting topic for us because for some reason we always end up talking about porn, and
And it's not my fault.
it is your fault. But one of the things that I want to talk about is me. I am very
wow. Did you really just say that?
I'm going to have
Yeah.
to use that on a soundboard one day.
Uh-huh.
me or personally, I don't know anything about romance novels. I've never read one, and I have a lot of preconceived notions about them. But now we have an actual author here that can kind of help us understand a little bit of that world. In my opinion, writers are, even if they don't consider themselves geek, they're all geeky because, in a way, they're passionate about something that, and they, get to put their craft, and even if it's fan fiction or whatever it is, that is also part of geek culture, in my opinion. So I'm very interested to hear, from your point of view, if you consider writing or what the writing that you do kind of geeky, and if you can maybe dispel some of those weird notions that people have over, about romance novels.
Well, romance novels do have a name. They speak smut most times, but that's not really true. Do you know how much research goes into these novels? I mean, that's probably where the geek comes in out of me because I have to spend hours researching. My newest title is To Wish Upon a Roman, and it is about a Roman general who loses his wife 1700 years ago, and he seeks out the aid of a witch named Genevieve to reunite them. Well, of course, there's laws of magic. She can't just bring his wife Lucia back. So what she does is she entraps him. Now, in order to do that, I had to look up and research witchery, Celtic witchery. I had to find out exactly where Hadrian, as my hero, would be living in the Roman times, the kind of clothing he would wear, the weapons they would use. History is full of so many changes. You can't just say he had a sword. There's actual names to these weapons. So there's a lot of research that goes on. And as far as the smut part, okay, I write romance with flair, I like to say. I don't like to say I write porn. There is sex. There's a lot of sex in some of the books I've written so far. But they always move around a plot. In Hadrian's case, the book coming out is Lucy is the modern-day descendant of the Cursing Witch. She makes a deal with him when he appears in her living room out of nowhere, of course, because she thinks it's a joke. I mean, who's really going to believe this Roman popped out of this magic crystal into their living room? And she's like, you know what? Fine. You want to play with game with me? I will set you free if you have sex with me for 2 weeks. Well, she doesn't know that he's really trapped in this crystal and has to follow. So, I mean, that's where the sex comes into play. But there is a plot to it. It's not like just lay down and let's have sex.
Actually, my woman and I have had this discussion before, because she likes plot. She likes being able to, have, not just a porn about just sex, which is what most guys like, the gonzo, just get to whatever it is you're gonna get to. She actually likes the story and she enjoys the story, so it's interesting. So there's gonna be a lot of questions that we're gonna have for you.
So she's never actually watched porn then, has she?
Oh no, she has, dude. Actually, I think she's watched more porn than I have. To be honest with you, I think my woman has watched tons more porn than I have.
Then I need to talk to her because I need to find some with plot because I haven't found jack with plot.
There is a good porn with plot. What is it called? Is like the Pirates of the Caribbean. We had it on the DVR for a while. What is it called? It's called Pirates. Just Pirates. It actually had a plot, and it had what's the name of the guy? Evan Stone. Evan Stone is like the working horse of the porn industry, which is freaking hilarious because he's like on everything. But yeah, I am totally like I don't know anything about porn unless it was like prior to like the 70s. Like the porn that I used to watch when I was a kid was really old, bad porn, like Ron Jeremy type of porn. So I really, and even internet porn, I'm not knowledgeable, but my woman was actually pretty knowledgeable, and she actually. Like, she's actually watched the AVNs and that kind of stuff, so she introduced me to some stuff for sure. But she likes porn with a plot, and I could care less for porn with a plot. I just want to see money shots.
That's why romance is targeted for women. We like soft porn, if you say, but we want a story. We want to know why they're going to do it. We don't want to say, oh, look, the doctor came in, I'm a nurse, take off my clothes.
Well, she does happen to be a nurse, and that works for me every time.
That works for
you. But
we just went in a whole different direction.
But no, I am curious though. Like, would you say that obviously you put a lot of research into this book that you're about to put out. So would you say that a male audience would also be able to enjoy the book, or would they be turned off by, the kind of soft porn aspect of it?
Well, my husband loves my books because I don't use those purple prose. I don't use those cliches. I actually say vagina, penis. That is what erotic romance is. You don't hide behind a veil of his manhood stiffened. You say his cock was hard.
Well, you're gonna fit
Best
right
podcast ever.
And we officially have the explicit rating for this podcast today.
That's all right.
I'm glad I could help.
Well,
it's usually me dropping the F-bomb first, but now I don't even have to worry about it.
Oh, right. So I hit the first girl and I got the explicit label.
There you
you
go.
did.
Winner, winner, chicken dinner.
So the other question that, and I have a lot of questions about this, but the other question that I had is the press that you use is called Breathless Press. So how do you hear about this guys, and what do you think about what they do?
Oh, well, once again, that goes back to research. A lot of Googling to scrounge verified publishers. There is several websites, like Predators and Editors. They list publishers and categorize them. They will tell you if there are author complaints and whatnot. And basically, you go to their website, you follow their submission guidelines, and hope they say yes.
Very cool. So have you released books with them before, or is this the first time that you're using them?
This is the very first time, and so far they are amazing.
It sounds good because the book is actually going to be released also on Kindle, so it's going to be a digital copy as well, right?
Yes. What they do is they release, of course, ebooks through their site, but you can also purchase them through other online vendors such as Amazon and Barnes and Noble and such.
Excellent. So it's a really cool thing. So now the other questions that I had for you, specifically talking about the myths of, writing this type of entertainment, is that, the romance books are also kind of, they don't have the depth as far as the fiction goes, but just from what you're saying, you did a lot of research for this. So, the novels that you've written before, is there a lot of fiction in it? Is that a big element?
Fiction does take a big background to do it. Like in this one, the fiction came from the story itself, but the historical aspect had to be there. However, I am currently working on a project that is created on a whole new world with, whole new species, so I'm free to do whatever I want. I can create green berries that squirt purple juice if I want. It's
Very cool.
liberty at it. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, that comes with the freedom, and just to give you a little background, because obviously you know me, you've talked to me, we've spent a lot of time, killing internet monsters.
Yes.
So, but the other two guys, so we have the gaming side, and then Mr. Morph is our resident comic book geek, and then Mr. Kip is our board game geek. Like, he knows more about. He has probably more board games that exists. Like, there's some that he's actually made up.
Oh.
Those are the best ones.
And they're only in his head.
So basically, a lot of what we do is, we take a topic and we kind of, bounce it around and talk about different things. But, I just wanted to introduce you to them too. So, and give them both an opportunity to ask you questions about, just being an author and stuff like that. Because, like, one of the things that Morph does is, he loves to, research characters that we're talking about. If there's a movie or a comic book, he goes into great lengths to, research those characters and find out, their background and what weapon they use and stuff like that, which sounds very similar to what you do with your characters. So it's kind of interesting that, that comic books and romance novels have that similarity.
Well, I think the whole writing aspect has the same similarity. The idea that you can't write about something that you don't know about, and so I mean, anyone who's writing, whether it's comic books or romance novels, there's a lot of research involved. Now, comic book, there's probably a little bit less, considering that's in a completely fictional world. But when you take these characters that have been around for 60, 70 years, there's a lot of history involved that you're going to have to do some research on to make sure you're not doing something with this character that isn't going to be appropriate.
So you see, we're nerdy.
Yeah, I'm full of nerd.
What about you, Kip? Do you have any questions?
Well, she was talking about all the research and everything that she did. Of course, my mind went in the wrong place. But anyway, it'd be like, wait a minute, stop what you're doing. I got to take a note. But anyway, you said you did a lot of research on the Roman background and all that. A friend of mine created an RPG that's based on Roman infantry. And I know you game with John. Do you do any of those kind of role-playing games like that? That's not sex-related, but is deals with the subject matter like the Roman Empire or anything like that?
No, I actually just stick to World of Warcraft. That's my muse.
So you're a video gamer.
Yes, and occasional Mortal Kombat, but.
Oh yeah.
Button mashing.
That was a great movie, by the way. Great movie.
Great for who?
I don't know. That was pure sarcasm. You guys didn't pick that up?
You guys are elevating our podcast every single time you talk. I can hear listeners turning us off right now. It's like, oh, put the chick back on.
I get that all the time.
So anyway, so now I only have one difficult question for you, and I'm not. Let's see, how can I present this in a positive way? So I have this preconceived notion, and I've actually had this argument with plenty of people before, and that not just romance novels, but romantic comedies, any type of literature which puts this guy on a pedestal, with chisel body and hero, and obviously these guys are romantic. So do you think that this type of content, this type of stories, puts an unrealistic expectation of life and something that men are gonna never be able to fulfill in women's mind?
Well, sometimes I think it can. I actually strive to make my characters with flaws. Hadrian in my book is scarred from battle. He's a chauvinist pig, really, if you think about it. Roman Empire men didn't just say, oh, honey, I'll cook dinner. It was, get in the kitchen and get me some food, woman. And he maintains this throughout the entire story. So he is flawed. My heroine, I don't believe every woman should be perfect, because I'm not. I don't want to read about Jennifer Lopez. I don't. I want a woman to sometimes be, a little on the heavy side. Sometimes maybe her nose is too big. And Lucy, she's kind of overly tall for a woman, what men consider attractive. She's overly tall. She has short hair, so she doesn't have that long flowing tresses you find. So I kind of keep my characters a little more realistic for myself. However, I think there is sometimes novels that make it to where these, especially on a man's side, they can't live up to it. But women love alpha males, and that is what a romance is. It's marketing for women. They love alpha males.
No, and that's very honest, and that's very true.
Well, it's the same. It's the same reason why comic books cater. I mean, have you looked at the female characters in a comic book?
Well, yeah, they're bootylicious and double D's, and sometimes it's not fair.
And I'm pretty sure they're not actually humanly possible.
Sometimes I wonder, yes.
So, Ish, I got another question for you that I just thought about. Do you think that 50 Shades of Grey did harm or did good for the romance novels?
Oh, you want to hear my confession?
Yes.
I never read it.
Ooh, that's even better.
I picked it up. I looked at it, and just the blurb on the back did not entice me. Despite the reviews, I never read it.
And I've heard that from people before, that if you like erotica, or if you like any type of content like that there's just way better stuff out there.
Well, that's what I heard. I heard it was a hit or miss, and I picked it up. Like I said, I read it, and I contemplated, and I'm like, you know what? No, I want to read a book. I'll write another one. So
there you go. So we're obviously going to be putting tons of links to how to find your books and how to find your current book that is coming out. And we're going to be talking about a couple of other topics here, but do you have any questions for us right now?
No. Well, actually, yeah, I do. Okay, for comics.
Mm-hmm.
To me, that is incredibly tricky. You have to tell a whole story within so many words. Your words are limited as compared to a book. I get to write out a whole paragraph of a thought if I want. But yet these comics have to portray a character's thoughts, actions, emotions, everything in just a few strips sometimes, it seems.
Yeah, I mean, it's... Well, the advantage that the comic books have in limiting those words is the pictures that they have there. So all the paragraphs that you use to describe a character, the comic books can just push those off to the side and just show the picture of that person, which requires really good artists. It also kind of depends on the writer for the book, the time period, like when the book was written, because there's some comic books back from the 70s and 80s where you'll see blocks and blocks of text in there, which they pretty much could have just taken and put that into a prose book and been done. They just wrote so much there. But then you get you get a lot of the action scenes are, if they're done real well, there could be actually no words for 2 or 3 pages in a comic book, because it's just action scene after action scene, and they don't, the pictures do all the talking. And it's, I will agree, it's probably a lot hard. I wouldn't say it's a lot harder. It's a different kind of difficulty. There's a really good book, and I don't see it on my shelf here, but it's by Scott McCloud. That's kind of about comic books and the idea of the pictures, using the pictures to tell the words. I'm trying to look it up as I talk. It's a good book to kind of get a feeling for. It's Understanding Comics by Scott McCloud. And yeah.
So in that notion, Ish, do you have a favorite comic book? Have you ever read one?
When I was younger, I used to like to go to the store and peek at the X-Men comics. But my dad wouldn't buy them for me because I was a girl, and he was like, no. So, I watched the X-Men cartoon every Saturday morning.
Oh, yeah. It's great.
I mean, I still wish, I wish the kids these days could see that stuff now.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, I'm raising 2 kids that have seen those. They've seen every episode of that cartoon because it's on Netflix.
Oh, well, awesome. That is good.
I love that cartoon. And what about board games? Do you have any board games that you like to play?
I love to play Monopoly, but I am not the best loser. And my husband will no longer let me be the banker.
Oh, one of those.
There's some skimming going on.
Yeah, make sure that you tell your husband that I miss him a lot. I miss not playing with him.
Just embezzling money here. It's okay.
Well, it was my fee. I was the banker. The bankers earn a fee.
That's right. It's called a salary.
It's interest. I'm just charging you interest.
Wow. You see, every single time that I've played Monopoly with Americans, you guys cheat.
It's so the game is fun. Otherwise, it sucks.
No, and you know what? I always end up winning anyway, and I don't cheat.
Whatever.
I'm serious.
Whatever.
I'm serious. I think there's a Facebook post from like one of the first times that I played Monopoly here in the U.S. was at a friend's house, and his parents still remember that the 3 of them were like playing against me, cheating, and they still couldn't beat me.
Why is it that you don't actually lose in any board games? I think there is a conspiracy going on here.
Yeah, that sounds very coincidental that you don't lose when people are cheating.
I don't know.
We've got Battlestar Galactica that he never loses at. Now we have Monopoly that he never loses at. From what I understand, he never loses at World of Warcraft either. So
I've never said that. I've never said that I don't lose at it.
You just say that you're the best at it, and that
I
Ish
do
really doesn't
not.
hold a candle to you. I mean, it's
Oh, I do not. She's a really good healer.
Ah,
She is an actually excellent healer, and we'll actually talk a little bit about WoW in a second. But before we get into that, and I gotta stop Mr. Moore from talking crap about me.
I
I
gotta do
do have a
something.
question. I do have a question for you. This has been a topic that we've touched a lot in the podcast, but we've never had the female's perspective for it. So one of the things that, obviously we've been geeks for a long time, the three of us, with comic books, with board games, and just in general geeks, and me with video games as well. And we feel, or actually I feel, and we've argued about this, that in recent years, let's say the last 5 to 10 years, more and more women have quote unquote joined the geek world, and it's not because they're passionate about something like books or they're passionate about one of the things that we've been discussing here today, but it's just to get attention. Do you think that's true? Do you think that exists? Does it bother you?
um, no, I think women generally enjoy gaming. I know I did. It was my aunt that introduced me um, to World of Warcraft, and I actually originally started out as Horde. I know, bad words. But, the vanity and the female, I went to Alliance because, well, their tunes are hotter. So I didn't want to play an ugly tune. And actually, that is how I met my husband, was World of Warcraft.
Really?
I joined his guild, yes. I joined Seek and Destroy. And we just started talking one day and, going back to the whole romance and the whole sex issue. I actually had gotten a lockbox, and he was online, and I knew that he was a blacksmith, and without thinking, I typed to him, I'm like, hey, can you open my box?
And her first romance novel wrote itself.
Exactly. A year later, we were married. So he had the
Wow.
right key, I guess.
Obviously he did. So you actually got to the guildmaster's heart, huh?
Uh, my editor actually also plays WoW, but she plays Horde.
Yeah. No, I've actually been glad that you've been playing again, and I wish both of you would play again, because it was kind of sad that like you guys left one of your players with us to camp out. We want to give him back.
No take-backs. He's yours. You touched him last.
Damn it. He's actually really nice. There was an opportunity, or there might be an opportunity for him to actually move closer to Kansas City for a job.
Yeah, that's what he was telling me.
So you never know. It might be closer. And actually, you're not far away from us either. You're actually in Missouri.
Yes. Yep, a little bit outside of Jefferson City, in one of them little small towns that nobody knows exists.
Yeah.
North or south of Jeff City?
Jeff City. South.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know the area.
I know the area too. Even though I'm from another country, I used to work in Jeff City sometimes. I did a lot of projects in Jeff City. It was like 3.5 restaurants.
I spent 22 years of my life in Missouri. I know it well.
That's cool. It's an interesting place for sure.
Interesting is the right word.
But you're welcome to join in any of the topics that we're going to talk about, because we're actually the podcast is in mourning right now because my favorite show on TV just got canceled.
Uh-oh.
Almost Human has been canceled,
Oh.
and I am depressed because I love that show,
I didn't watch it.
and that's
You're
why it's
the
canceled.
That's why it's canceled.
It's all your fault.
It's all your fault.
That's why we can't have nice things.
But also, Kip, well, Morph, most of the time he has something to talk about, but today he's just not doing anything because he's working too much and trying to catch up in comic books. But I know he's got a project at work that's keeping him busy, so he's just here, kind of filling space. But Kip did go to the WWE live event this week. So, what do you do over there, dude?
You stare at a lot of weirdos. That's the first thing you do.
He ogles at sweaty men in Speedos.
Yeah, who
God, that must have
doesn't?
been horrible.
No, this is what was horrible. Okay, so we get there and there's a long line outside. And this is this noise I'm going to play for you is 10 feet away from me for a good solid half an hour. Can you hear that?
Yes.
So they were playing drums or like the buckets?
Yes. For a solid half an hour, I thought I was going to go to bed last night with that in my head.
And why did you record it?
So I could play it on the podcast. Why else would I record it?
Oh my God. So okay, so you get inside. Anything else happen on the line besides annoyance from the buckets?
Well, we get inside, and unfortunately, I thought I picked really good seats online, and I thought it's because the numbers went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 left to right, and they go right to left. So we were on the opposite side of the aisle I wanted to be on. So we were right there on the edge of where the stage was, so you could only see a sliver of the big screen. And it really didn't matter. I mean, it was Kansas City, so I think the WWE went, we'll pull a couple of homeless guys off the street, have them wrestle. Nobody in Kansas City is going to care. And so we got to see a lot of C&D level wrestlers.
Really?
If there is such a thing. I mean, there were some guys out there. It's like, welcome to the stage, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, who the fuck is that? I don't know.
I wouldn't know who it is anyway, so.
Well, I know a handful because my wife's addiction to this show. And there's a few that I do like, and it's like I was looking forward to seeing them. And then these guys, they just parade these guys out like, I don't know who that is.
Did you see anybody that you knew?
Yeah, there was a few. There was a few. The interesting thing about it is I guess on Tuesday nights, which was last night, they have a live show called Main Event. And it's an hour. So the first hour, all the banners and everything said Main Event. And then once they finished the live show, they tore everything down and put up banners that said SmackDown, and then for the next 2 hours, they recorded the show that they're going to play on Friday.
Oh.
So it was like sitting through two shows. And so the first hour with the Main Event people, it was the Scrubs, nobody I had heard of until the very last match, and it was a couple of guys I heard of, and I didn't care, and we were there the whole time for one thing, and my wife loves this team called the Shield, and they were supposed to be there, so we waited all night, and then they played the Shield intro, and one of the guys goes walking down, and it was just him, and she's like, "Oh fuck this, let's go home." So we went home, and I turned on my computer, and it's like, all right, what is the website that you like to go to that has the spoilers on it? And she told me, so I opened it up because I had a bad feeling that we missed the Shield, and I was unfortunately I was correct. What had happened is they sent the one guy out, he got his ass kicked, and then during the chaos,
came out.
Yeah, and they came out and cleaned house, and that's what she would have loved to have seen. So I felt bad that she missed out on that part. But the people watching was extraordinary. I could not get over the size of some of these people that wrestle. Yeah,
Would you do it again?
I don't know. Maybe.
No.
If the tickets were free, and like one of the divas got to sit in my lap the whole time or something, maybe. But it was interesting to see the moving parts. There's always somebody in the right place at the right time that worked for the production company. But you could, and live, I didn't think it would be this way, but it was. You could actually tell. Excuse me. You could actually tell the punches and stuff weren't connecting. I figured you would be able to tell better on TV because zoomed in cameras, but no, you can tell better in person. Like if somebody kicked and it made a really loud noise, I'm like, how in the hell are they doing this? And then I noticed when he does that kick, he's taking his hand and slapping the thigh of his other leg to make a real loud slapping sound. It's like, yeah, I would have never saw that on the TV.
So what about you, Ish? Are you pro or anti WWE?
As far as wrestling, I watched it when I was a teenager, from about 15 to 17. There was half-naked men wearing underwear. Of course I watched it. I was like Shawn Michaels all the way. I had his pictures pinned all over my walls. My parents thought I was nuts.
Outstanding.
But after about 17, I discovered, Real Boys. So wrestling took a backdrop.
And you realize the Real Boys don't look anything like those guys.
Well, you haven't met my husband.
Yeah, he's an imposing figure both in and out of the game.
But
he actually plays a warrior, just like I do.
Unless she said she realized what was going on and she grew out of it. The lady sitting behind me in the sprint center, I'm pretty damn sure she did not realize it's scripted. She was making all sorts of comments like, oh, he walked right into that, or don't turn your back on him. And it's like, lady, it's in the script. He's supposed to be doing this.
Oh, why didn't you kill it for her? You should have. I would.
I didn't say anything. She may also still believe in Santa Claus. I didn't want to ruin anything.
That's why you don't take me to places like that, because I will educate people.
I think they're uneducatable. I can't even say it. I can't be taught.
I thought you meant
uneducatable. When the foreigner is the voice of reason, you got to start rethinking this whole podcast.
Well, if you want to know proper English, don't ask an American.
that is true.
Hey, I ask anybody from America.
America.
Yeah, so there you go. So the pyrotechnics were a hell of a lot louder than I expected it to be. The stupidity level was pretty high.
Of the wrestlers or of the people there?
The people there. It was pretty, yeah. But it was only a few. It wasn't like the entire crowd. I mean, it was just the few that sat behind me. You know who you are. And
and they're listening right now.
Yeah, because I'm sure they're our demographic, and
you never know, man.
It was just not scripted either.
We should be. That's the problem. But it was fascinating. Unfortunately, the one picture I really wanted came out blurry. Morph knows what I'm talking about.
Yes, I do.
Lana. But yeah, as a whole, as going there and actually getting to see it in person, it was worth it for that. But it was definitely, I don't know if it was worth the money, but I still had a good time. I just felt bad that we left before Holly got to see Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns come out and strut their stuff.
Was she just tired or just fed up with the whole?
Well, the air conditioner was on ludicrous speed, and
well, that's because you had naked men on the that had to be warm. I mean, they don't need.
So they wanted the nipples stick. I don't know, but it was cold in there, and after 50 matches of people you never heard of, I mean, they actually had a table they brought out, set it in the middle of the ring, and we had to watch two midgets sign a contract to fight at another event that happens some other time that we won't even get to see.
So there was little people there.
There was little people. One of them was dressed like a bull. And I wish I was making this up.
You see, because thinking about all of this, like I'm trying to like put in the balance because I know that your wife really likes the WWE and wants to see the people fighting, but I know how uncomfortable she is about the lowest common denominator. So it's like wrestlers versus mullets, What's gonna win?
Mullets.
The
Mullets
sheep's masks won. There was lots of those there, but
Luchadors.
and she doesn't watch it for the wrestling. She likes what she calls the posturing and the promos, and they get in the ring with the microphone and they talk trash to each other. She loves that part of it. Of course, at the live event, there's none of that going on.
Really?
So, yeah, there was a little tiny bit, but you didn't get to hear the commentators. You didn't get to see what was going on behind the stage.
So the commentators are not like coming over the loudspeakers?
No. Nope.
No, that's all edited in after.
The only person you could hear over the loudspeakers was the bimbo they had in the short skirt and the high heels that would come out and tell you who was wrestling and who won.
You had to be
and
told
she could have done
who won?
that all at the same time, but she didn't.
That seems kind of,
I love the
that
fact
seems
that you had to tell you who won.
right. Like that doesn't make any sense to me. Like, shouldn't you be able to see who won?
Well, you saw who won, but it's just like at a football game where the guy runs the ball in for a touchdown and the PA announcer says Franco Harris scores a touchdown. You're like, yeah, I just saw that. Well, the same thing. This guy you never heard of won the wrestling match. Thank you.
Awesome.
Got it.
Wow.
But
I don't know if I should be happy for you or sad. I'm like in between.
You should be happy for me because it's a story I get to tell, and I can actually say I was at one of these events and I got to experience it. It was good for that.
I am perfectly happy knowing that I'm never going to be in one of those events.
Come on, you're missing out.
I don't think so. Not from what you're describing.
Oh yeah, well the whole time you're watching this going, wow, the production value is pretty damn high, and then you look around and like, but the crowd is pretty low functioning. This could be interesting. And then when the matches started, you could tell what wrestlers weren't popular, because there'd be this big noise and their intro music, and they'd come out and they'd be whooping and hollering, and people would not be cheering or paying any attention to them. And it's like,
did you see any drugs?
I did not.
No,
Well,
but you
you
did see some plants.
What were you saying, Ish?
I said you guys should feel bad for those guys. You're like, oh, these unpopular guys are getting booed. Well, how do you think they feel?
Well, it was worse than being booed. It was unacknowledged.
Well, maybe you should have clapped for him. It could have made his day.
Yes, because John's one clapping in a sea of
Yeah, I could do the slow clap.
You should have done this slow clap. You could have gotten the whole arena to clap with you.
See, be a
Probably.
leader.
Probably
You
not.
should've-
They were too busy yelling stuff that like there's one guy, he's part of a yes movement, and the fans when he's out there go yes, yes. Well, there are a lot of people were doing that, and he wasn't there.
Well, that should have been your cue. You could have been the alpha male, see? And then I could have written about you. See? Now you lost the chance.
Yeah.
That ship sailed a long time ago.
Yeah, Ish. This is slim pickings if you're gonna look for alpha males here.
well, at least good-looking alpha males.
Hey, speak for yourself, Morph.
I am.
No, but if you get a chance, what the hell? Do it. Get liquored up and go. I think that's the only way to do it.
Get liquored up. I don't know. I don't know if I would be able to be in an arena with that many people while liquored up.
Well, how long were you there?
Hours.
We got in there when we sat down, I looked at my cell phone, it was 6:14, and we left about 9:50.
Oh
Yeah,
my god.
And you didn't even leave at the end.
No, it went till 10, and we thought, well,
That's
we'll
a
beat the
long
rush. The
time.
shield's not there anyway, and so we were home like 5 after 10.
That's a long time to be sitting. I mean, I can't even sit through a movie in a movie theater that's an hour and a half or 2 hours long. I don't know how the hell I'd come up with 4 hours.
People watching. That's how you do it.
I can sit on my deck and people watch.
I'm glad you said deck.
Yes,
Now we're going
yes.
back to the romance novels.
Oh,
So that
God.
was my WWE experience. It was worth it, but it was crazy.
You know, remember that it's not over until you both have your cookie.
I don't even know what you're saying.
So, hey, you guys, and girl, did you happen to see the release today of the the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle trailer that is going to be shown in the Spider-Man 2 movie that comes out this weekend?
Nope. I refuse to watch the Ninja Turtles because they look horrible and they scare me.
Yes,
What do you mean they look horrible?
they look horrible.
Well, they look
They-
like giant turtles.
Right, but they're superhero
really.
turtles, and if you go back to the turtles that we seen in the 80s and 90s, the turtles they have now are aliens. They don't look like
That's-
turtles; they look like aliens.
That is true. I will give them that. However, if you've ever really looked at like a giant tortoise, like those things are kind of alien looking anyway.
Why would you spend time looking at a giant tortoise that
Well,
close
because
in?
there's a really good pet store in Lawrence, and I have a couple hours to kill in between soccer games in Lawrence, and so we take the kids to this pet store, and they have
Why are you staring at the turtle again?
because my youngest son, who's 2, loves turtles. And he will sit there and point and smile and giggle at these giant turtles that aren't doing anything and get sitting there looking at him. So I sit there with him and watch these turtles do nothing.
And he says he can't sit for 4 hours to watch
I know.
wrestling. I think he could.
I can watch turtles.
Your credibility just went down the toilet.
I don't
And it
have to
didn't
do
have
that.
far to go.
I don't have to do that for 4 hours. I only have to do that as long as a 2-year-old sits still. So we're talking like minutes here.
Yeah, just keep on drinking your PBR, buddy.
I'm the only one here with kids, I'm assuming.
No, I think Ish, you have kids, don't you?
Yes, yes,
How many
I do.
How many kids do you have, Ish?
How many kids do I have?
Mm-hmm.
That's what we asked you.
A lot.
Really?
There's a Brady Bunch thing going on there, isn't there?
Jeez.
Yes.
Oh, so okay. Cool. Awesome. Wide range then?
Wide range from 18 down to 3.
Wow. Yeah, that's a wide range. I just got a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old.
He's still a new daddy.
I don't know if new's the right word. You get broken in pretty damn quick with kids.
Oh,
No,
you do.
dude. No, wait until you get to the teenage years. You haven't seen nothing yet.
I got boys, I only have to worry about one dick.
Actually, two.
Well,
You never know.
All right.
I got-
Yeah, let's bring this back together to something more relevant.
Well, I tried to go with us on a cool trailer. I think the trailer looks really cool. I will agree that the turtles look very strange, but I am interested to see how Michael Bay can screw up this movie like he did all the Transformer ones. So,
Well, number one,
Transformers.
really, I mean, I did not dislike the movies, but I dislike Megan Fox because she is, to me, like the epitome of objectifying a woman.
Well, my problem with the Transformer movies, which I know we've talked about before, but they're not about the Transformers. The Transformers aren't the central characters to any of those movies. It's the humans that are there, and I don't care about humans. I want to see more Transformers.
Screw humanity, right? Transformers.
Exactly. If I could become a giant robot that transforms into a truck, I would do it. Maybe even an airplane.
You would be Starscream. I don't think you would be Optimus Prime. You would definitely be Starscream.
Actually, I want to be Scorponok and transform into a giant scorpion.
I want to be the one that transforms into a boombox. That seems more my speed.
There's two of them.
Soundwave.
Soundwave or Blaster.
Yes, you can. What about you, Ish? What Transformer would you be?
Oh, oh goodness, what Transformer would I be? I would be, what is that, Bumblebee?
There you go.
Volkswagen Bug.
Yeah, reliable.
That's my wife's favorite Transformer right there.
I thought your wife didn't watch any movies with you, like just out of principle.
She doesn't watch the movies. She watches cartoons.
Yeah, but she reads romance novels on her Kindle.
She does, and I'm actually going to let her know about Ish's Facebook page so that she can check out this book, because I think it might be right up her alley.
Well, that would be awesome. Thank you.
You are more than welcome.
Did she ever read Charming the Snake that I sent to her?
No, she didn't. Because I believe you were supposed to provide her with a signed copy of that book there, Mr. Kip.
I did, but what I used for ink dried and you couldn't see it anymore.
Wow, and it just went there.
Hold on, I don't know if I have that.
Invisible ink, that's what I was talking about, yeah.
Yeah.
So this is what I gave up on Wednesdays of not rating for hanging out with this two.
Yeah, it's not really good.
I'm starting to think I made the wrong choice.
Oh, I thought that was apparent already.
Yeah.
So, do you have any other wisdom? Any other wisdom for us, Ish, about books? About how do we get a hold of you? How do we get a hold of your previous books?
Just my Facebook page. Basically, I have other short stories, but they aren't like big market right now. This is my actual first big publisher that is recognized by the RWA, which is the Romance Writers of America. So this is effectively my career starting, minus the work I've built up, the little work. So this is where it gets big for me. I really have to push myself now.
Sweet. That's awesome. So we're actually interviewing you before you become big. So eventually it'll be like, hey, we interviewed the big author.
That's my goal, yeah.
We can claim it. We can claim the first.
That's right. When you become world famous, just remember the little people that you started out with and
the midgets at the wrestlers?
Yes.
Yes.
Remember the midgets wrestlers.
Hey, we did not talk about midget porn, so.
Not yet. It's early.
It's coming.
No pun intended.
Ah, damn it. I walked into that one.
Right into it. But we definitely want to thank you for your time and for coming into our show and putting up with our fun. We'll make sure to provide you with some links when we put it up so that you can torture other people with it.
Oh, I plan on it, yes. Thank you for the invite. It's actually been very fun.
That's what we like to hear. At least you had fun.
And I get to be excited because I popped your virgin bubble there with the female, so.
I know.
Oh, man. They're on a
That
roll.
is true. That is true.
So we didn't have to be nice. Damn it, I wasted this whole episode.
Oh, guys. Yeah, I'm never gonna bring a friend ever again.
No, we pretty much offend anybody who comes on this, so I'm actually surprised that you've had a good time and you're not running away screaming.
That's true. We have definitely ran some people out before. Hey,
We just kind of tell it how it is.
before we let you go, what do you think about M. Night Shyamalan?
I've actually never read one of his books.
Or
I have
some
seen-
movie.
I have seen the movies though, and I don't know what to think. I'm pretty sure he was high the whole time. It's my best guess.
You are correct.
Yes.
Did you pass the test? Yay!
Winner.
Because there's sometimes I've seen one of the movies that's based off the book and it ends, and I'm like, what? That's not even the freaking movie I just watched because that ending makes no sense.
Yeah, we don't get it either. I hate him. I hate him with passion.
We need to have him on here.
Someday.
I'm sure
Someday
he'll come. I'm sure he'll come do this. I mean, what's the guy doing now?
Oh, burn!
Bam!
I'm just throwing it out there.
All
So,
right.
Ish, when you become famous, send him our way, would you?
No, I sure will. I'll be like, hey, I know this great podcast. And they're all big fans.
Yes. Oh.
All right. Any last thoughts, Ish?
No, not really thoughts. I'm actually kind of still curious about the comic book thing because I know if it's anything like me, it's just you get these characters in your head and you think you're crazy because they're talking to you and you just have to write them out. I imagine that's probably the same for you too then.
Yes.
Yeah, he has plenty of voices in his head.
I have. Yeah. The doctors tell me they're gonna go away, but they just haven't yet.
He keeps forgetting to wear his tinfoil hat.
One of these days. One of these days. All right. You can find Ish if you search Facebook as Ishabelle Torrey. That's ISHABELLE T as in Tom ORRY. You can also find that same name on Twitter. You can check out our blog at geekvice.blogspot.com. You can follow us on Twitter at Geekvice, Google plus Geekvice, and also on Facebook. Just go ahead, like our page. It helps us out. You can follow Mr. Kip on Twitter, Kip Kilagian. You can follow Loktar on Twitter as well, just at Loktar. Morph is completely useless and worthless
Yeah.
because he still hasn't joined Twitter.
No. I haven't. I have to have a phone that I think will work.
What does a phone have to do with Twitter? You have a computer.
Yeah, but I sit at a computer all day. I don't want to sit at there
God.
at night too. But what am I doing now? I'm sitting in front of a computer. This is all I do.
Thanks everyone for listening to our ramblings. And if you want to comment on anything that we talked about today, or send us hate mail, or send us questions,
Or hail.
You can. God, let me finish the show. You can email us at geekvice@gmail.com. Have a good night.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye.